City of AlvaTourismTax Committee, and notice that the agenda is properly posted. The first order of business is the approval or disapproval of the minutes from the January 16th meeting, and I think I saw one correction on there. I think on the financial report, I think Norval voted no on that. Didn't you, Norval?
Yes.
Any other corrections to the minutes? Been moved that we approve the minutes for January 16th. Do I have a second?
Second. Norval?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Charles?
Aye.
Janet? Aye.
And I take it that motion is with the correction.
Correct.
Okay. Next item is the approval or disapproval of the financial report. Alex?
Yes. At this time, cash in the bank, we have $237,601.06. The Chamber of Commerce Tourism Secretary, we still need to pay out $4,500. Northwest Oklahoma Medieval and Renaissance Fair, $1,350. The Alva Live Civic Services Tourism Billboard, $3,000. With 500 future and 2,500 standing, leaves $225,751.06 available.
Any questions for Alex? I don't think I've signed anything this month.
Come in between the two meetings.
No. In fact, I don't think I've signed anything since last meeting.
I think my only question is, have we collected all the taxes that we were supposed to for 2012?
Well, the city's not on a calendar year, it's on a fiscal year. I think it ends September 30th, June, April, I don't know.
June 30th.
June 30th. So what really says, I think, what says 2012 here, first quarter of 2012,
We actually start
that's July 1,
So we're still in
2012 year.
fiscal year.
Fiscal year 2000, that began in 2012.
Yes.
On page 2, that 41,000, is that actually for a month or is that for a quarter?
That's for a quarter.
It says for this month.
Well, it's collected this month, but it's for,
Oh, for that.
it's
last
for yeah,
quarter.
the taxes are only collected on a quarterly basis. Norval, did you get that reconciled this month?
You know, I didn't go through it this time to try to reconcile it. It's too busy.
Are there any other questions for Alex? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve or disapprove the financial report.
I move that we approve the finances as written.
It's been moved to approve the financial report. To have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the financial report.
Norval?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Janet? Aye. Charles?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, Alex. Next item on the agenda is the approval or disapproval of funds for the 13th annual Big Cruise and Car Show not to exceed $11,360. Brought the big guns this time.
Had to be in half.
Oh.
Basically, as you can see, without just reading everything to you, we would like to continue to grow the show, and by growing the show, it takes money. We run a free car show to everyone, and give away quite a few things and have a lot of fun that weekend, and it continues to grow. Bring roughly 5,800 people to the community. Some of them are from the community, so, but I mean, when you have that many show up at the show, every year it's getting bigger. We've asked our sponsors to increase what they pay this year, and have had a good response from them, the ones that we've contacted about the fact that we're going to increase their cost of their sponsorship. The reason this show goes off as well as it does is the support of the local community and in this group, the funding from this group as well as our sponsors. A lot of fun. You guys never come down to it, you need to. A lot of involvement by all ages. We have a Pinewood Derby deal that has just grown beyond belief. And luckily for us, the scouts pretty much have taken it over and have really made it a big deal. All of the other stuff we do, the participation with cars and stuff has gotten bigger every year. Some events we've had to stop, limit the numbers that can apply because we just don't have time to do it all. So it is a growing fun deal. I don't know if you guys have some questions of me, I'll try and field them.
What are you doing differently or planning to do differently for this year than you did last year as far as making it bigger and such, other than more participants?
I just think we'll have more participants. Some things that we're doing is because we're having more participants, we're actually having a few more giveaways as far as like the number of people that come to our show. Most of them are from a long ways away, and we give them cash, or not cash, but gas vouchers for fuel to help them, which is something new for the 4 car shows. Not very many do it. This is probably the largest car show until you get to Wichita for this area. You have to get to Wichita or Tulsa or Oklahoma City to find a car show this size. The other, we do give away cash to some of them in drawings and different things. Biggest thing that's going to get it bigger is just the word of mouth, and we're going to do a little more advertising this year, a little further away distant places, Tulsa and Oklahoma City a little more. We have always hit Wichita pretty solidly, and that's where a lot of our participants come from, is the Wichita area.
What's the entertainment this year?
I don't know.
We have $3,300 budgeted for it.
I know. Every year we come up with something. Last year it was basically
The jet
car.
Jet car, yeah.
Yeah, that was there. Every year we have something different, and it's a matter of who we can get to come. I really am not very involved in that, but we always seem to have a pretty good draw for that particular event. We've had all kinds of stuff at it. We've had everything from motorcycles to the jet car. I mean,
To the dog whisperer or whatever.
Well, it's whatever you can get.
Yeah,
Yeah. That is entertaining for not just the group that's there, but the big reason is to get the people to come in.
Get the spectators.
Yeah, get the spectators to come. And that is one thing that this car show does better than most that I go to, is draws the spectators in. I think it's because all the fun things are going on.
Any other questions for Ken?
I mean, we approved the request of $11,260.
It's been moved to approve the request for $11,360. I have a second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded.
Norval? I'm sorry. Henry?
Aye.
Charles?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Norval?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, Ken.
Okay, thank you, guys. You're the reason that this thing happened.
Well, appreciate that.
Good job.
Next item on the agenda is the approval or disapproval of the funds for the advertising in Oklahoma Today magazine by the Alva Life Civic Services not to exceed $20,370. Melissa?
Hi, guys. In my constant striving to save money, the $3,000 that you approved last month is actually only $2,225. And if you see what I brought an updated asking for less money for even for this now. After Brenda Hood and I met with the representative from Oklahoma Today for a couple of hours yesterday, and because we're part of the Red Carpet Country and we've used their ad, we get 10% off. Bought a bad ad, not used their ad. We get 10% off of our cost for the Oklahoma Today magazine. I think it's good to point out that all of the things that you guys approve, the things that the community comes to you for, this is just another way to try and help them, help get it out, help everyone in the state know what we're doing here in Alva. I'm sure you have some questions.
So would it have the events that are going on in Alva?
Yes, sir. We can have a new ad every issue. They have 6 issues in a year, and if we went with the 6 issues, they'll actually give us a free one. So the price of 6, you get 7. At some point, and he didn't know whether it would be this way this year or not, the state Oklahoma Travel magazine that comes out once a year, travel guide, it may be that our ad could go in here if we would like, instead of in another Oklahoma Today issue. There are 2 separate companies. Actually, Oklahoma Today this year produced the magazine, but it's a separate entity. They're hoping to be able to add that as the 7th issue on a 6th issue ad package. Which then, I think the paper showed you, if we went with 6 issues and we got a 7th one, then that actually takes the cost down to $2,619 an issue, which is, gosh, a savings of very close to $1,000 an issue from the original.
So what sort of lead time do you have to have?
Right now, the first issue that we could get into would be the May-June. And we will need to have the ad, they will do all the ad for us. That's one of the things we met with him yesterday, to let him know what we wanted to put in, what we wanted to highlight in this issue. And that would be the first one to go out. So that would have a cruise show, that would have Nescatonga highlighting for those months on it. Then in July and August, then we would have a separate ad that would still always have all the information of calendar of events that are things that are going on. But mostly, and the biggest, I believe, one of the biggest assets for the ad will be the website and the telephone number. I think in this day and age, people don't look at the ad and go, oh, I'm going to go there. They hit their internet, they look at what it is that we've got, or they call and say, hey, we're wanting to come on this date. What do you have, and that sort of thing. I think we are probably still looking at, excuse me, possibly, at least in some of the ads, still going with the same logo of Alva, the center of it all, which is also then highlighting the Salt Plains, sand dunes, Alabaster Caverns, showing when you come to Alva, the day trips, half-day trips you can take from here, that Alva's in the center of all of that. Any of those things you want to see, Alva's where you want to kind of stay. So we would be, in addition, advertising for this area.
I've got a couple questions. One, are you planning to use a QR code on those?
What?
QR code, that's the little square thing
Oh.
that you just scan with your
yes,
phone and automatically goes to the
He
website?
said we can do that. I don't know if we're set up with that on our end of that
Well,
yet or not.
you can make them yourself. They're pretty
There's-
easy to make.
There's one in the red carpet ad currently.
Okay.
There's a QR code.
And we'll also have the Facebook emblem on there as well to
So
take
you can
them
use
to-
a QR code for your Facebook link also.
Right. But we would have both. We can have anything we want on it.
And then the other question is, where within the magazine will the ad be placed?
What we are looking at right now is the inside back cover, which I help out with several statewide publications, and that is my favorite spot in a magazine. I read from the back, though. When I pick up a magazine, I start flipping. So the first thing I see is the inside back cover. I don't know if everybody else does it that way, but that's the way I do it. And so it's my favorite spot on a magazine to have an ad. And that is a premium placement ad. And that's why the cost is a little bit higher. For a 3-issue, the inside back cover is usually $3,694 per issue for each of the 3 issues. We would, if we went with 6, it would be $3,395 for that inside back cover, as opposed to if we were just on the inside, say in front of an event, that's only $3,000. It's about $300 difference all the way across to have it someplace else. So that is a premium placement ad. He also said that we can, if we want to be on the inside back cover sometimes, we want to be in front of a special event, that's not the word I'm looking for, article that they've got highlighting some big thing, we could probably move up on certain issues to a different place if we would like.
And it is a full page ad.
It is a full page color ad that they will produce for us. I mean, obviously, he said they try and get it turned around in like 3 or 4 back and forths, which I thought was pretty good. We usually do it in just one. So obviously they know that we're going to be sending it back and forth, and they'll be working with us, getting us what we want. But if you're familiar with the Oklahoma Today magazine, the ads in there are, I think, very high quality, very professionally done. And so we've told them what we want. The graphics guy, Stephen, is going to call me and have a startup place to go. I'll take it to the committee, see what they like, don't like. We'll send it back and back and forth until we have it the way we want it.
There are copies available in the tourism centers, as you come
Yes,
to the
sir.
state.
And ours.
And what?
They're up at ours as well.
Okay.
He did also, I took the ad that Alex put together for the red carpet country ad, and he liked that a lot. He liked the cleanness of it. So we're talking big letters. I don't really have any idea what it's going to look like at this point. But he did like the ad that she put together, which was a very clean, big letters, not tons of word verbiage in it. So.
The positive side, and Melissa discussed this at your last meeting, most likely they'll do a story on Alva as well at some point.
I asked about that, and he was quick to say that no, they does not guarantee us an ad. But we talked about several things that we thought would be article worthy that are from Alva, and he said, "Oh, I love those 2. I'm going to call our editor and tell her about them now," and then told me to call her with them. So my impression was they're not guaranteeing it for us, but he's putting in a good word for us. So
Is the additional $300 cost per issue to have the ad on the inside back cover worth
the extra
having it other than someplace else?
Well, for the for the next 3 issues, it's the only choice we have.
Okay.
They limit their advertisers. They do not, like some magazines, as many advertisers as they can get in there, that's how big their magazine will be. And they don't do that. They have a limited advertising space. And for the next 3 issues, the inside back cover is the only one that they had open, which I thought kind of worked out well because it's what I would prefer to have. But, and that's what we had, when we talked last month, we talked about a 3-month one. And we can still do that if that is what you would rather do. But it does make, in past, if my little group is doing the advertising for Alva, like we've done the billboards in the past, we keep renewing it and keep renewing it. And if we thought there was a chance we would renew this, we're going to be saving over $1,500 by committing to 6 now. But we don't have to. We can do whatever we want, obviously.
Well, I guess my opinion is, if we just do 6 months or the 3 issues, then we're going to slight some activity in Alva because they're not going to be
Well, we
featured
certainly do
because
not
we're
plan on
not
sliding.
doing that
Sure.
2-month spread.
You know, I would say yes, just because that would probably increase the likelihood of your okaying 6 issues. But I can tell you that if we only go with 3, we do not intend to slight anything, anyone. I take the Oklahoma Today magazine. I read it cover to cover every time, and I look at the cities that advertise in there, and I can't really tell you what. Well, I can, but it's a long story you don't want to hear. But I know, like at Christmas for the December issue, we don't want to do our lights that are downtown. Even though those are beautiful, there's probably 5 ads in that magazine that's what they do. So for our November, December issue, I would want us to do something completely different from that. Maybe the museum trees. I don't know. That's too far down the road. But we do not intend to slight any organization. I have a huge list that we want to be sure. And in all honesty, most of these things are going to have to be seen from the website because we don't want to clutter up the ad with every activity we've got going in Alva because we're an active community. So a lot of the things are going to be noticed when they go to the website or when they call the chamber office. But we intend to make this very beneficial to this community in this area, no matter how many issues we put out.
I think if it's done right, it could, I mean, it's expensive, but it could be really cool to have one that has a lot about homecoming and one that has, you know, one a lot about Nescatunga
And
and
the
these
car
things.
show.
Billboard.
Huh?
A whole lot more effective than a billboard, a lot better coverage.
I agree. I agree.
And it was
completely.
time to change things up. Yeah.
And I think we will get more, the more times we ask them to do an article on us. I think we've got, you know, when you're doing business with somebody, you always pay more attention to them. So we have a higher percentage chance of getting an article in the magazine. And I think it shows Alva as a very progressive, moving forward. You know, the towns that are in that magazine are progressive, moving forward towns, and I think that does nothing but make us look that way as well. And it talks, I think I gave for you guys, I don't know if they printed them all off, the entire media package, telling about, you know, the demographics and everything. But one of the things that he had said yesterday that really chimed in with me was that the percentage of advertisers who say that they have seen an increase in their activities or their hotel or their town or whatever is like 62% or something. And I thought that because so many of the people who read this magazine have the money to go someplace and they're looking for little weekend trips. They're looking for just fun things to do. And so I'm very excited and hopeful that this will be very beneficial to our community.
We have crowd participation. This is cool.
Did you take a comment from the crowd? First, I want to agree with you, Melissa, on the fact that I'm a back cover person too, because book reader, that's where my index is. And so I'm flipping to there constantly. Second thing is, and Alex, we started this last year, but our out-of-town participants that come to the Lieutenant Governor's Turkey Hunt, we give them a subscription to Oklahoma Today magazine. And what a great thing. I mean, we're
Do you know what circulation is in the magazine?
I'm sorry,
Do you know
say-
what the circulation is?
I can, yeah, it's in here.
I just kind of want to figure out what we're paying per household.
And I'll bet you it's already,
If you don't know, that's fine.
There's a proof of information probably in the back somewhere.
motivation to take average.
Because I think they only have to post that once a year as far as circulation and all that.
Yeah, it may not be in every.
Yeah, that's fine. I just thought maybe you
It does
talked
go
about that and
international.
talked-
He did say it's gone to every state in the United States and several different countries. Now, I'm sure those are people who are, total average circulation, 39,698. The readership is 117,100 and 109.
Can't you
The
subtract-
pass-along readership is $2.95 readers per copy. I apologize that I don't know what the pass-along readership means.
Well, I mean.
You give it to somebody
I know
else.
My wife
It
gives
sounded
hers
good
to
to
her
me.
sister, and
Oh, I
she
see,
sends it to her
okay.
daughter.
Or the doctor reads it and puts it out in the waiting room.
He did talk about how he's been amazed at how many times people have said, I have every issue of Oklahoma Today since 1956. And the first time he told that, he didn't believe him, and he went to the guy's house, and he had in his closet every issue. He said they never put coupons in here because nobody will cut them out. They don't want to mess up the magazine, and so they won't cut out anything in the magazine, so they discourage coupons. But anyway, it was an informative. He was impressed with Alva, of course, and I felt like it was a good relationship start.
I have lots of recipes in here too.
I
I
do
need
too.
photocopies of them because I don't want to rip the magazine.
So it's about 3 cents a reader, roughly.
That's pretty good.
Any other questions for Melissa?
I move we approve a request for $20,370.
It's only $18,333.
Even better. I amend
Can you
my-
repeat that amount? 18?
$18,333.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request for Alva Live for $18,333.
Henry?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Norval?
Aye.
Charles?
Motion
you all
passed.
very
Thank you,
much.
Melissa. Next item on the agenda is approval or disapproval of the funds for the first annual Chesapeake Energy Battle of the Bulls not to exceed $3,700.
I'm Justin Dowdy, along with Jed Smith. We're here on behalf of ourselves and Battle of the Bulls, as well as the Woods County Economic Development Committee, requesting funds for our first annual Chesapeake Energy Battle of the Bulls event. This is it's not your everyday bull riding. I mean, of course, to the general public, it may appear to be that way, but we're bringing in 3 separate variables with this. 2 separate different kinds of competitions. Our main one, being this is called Battle of the Bulls, it'll be a competition between 15 different contractors coming from not only Oklahoma, but Texas and Kansas, and hopefully even further. And they will all bring 3 bulls apiece and pay $1,000 entry fee to go into a pot that they compete for. We will crown a champion for them, as well as we're inviting 30 bull riders to get on these bulls during this event, so they are competing for a purse of their own. And then our third variable will be our spectators that we are promoting this event out to bring into Alva. If you guys have any questions, you guys can chime in anytime.
What's the date of this? Oh, here it is, April 6th.
What's your budget of revenue?
Our budget of revenue.
Yep. You have budgeted expenses $13,177. You're asking $3,700 from the tourism committee, so that still leaves you $9,477. What's the rest of that
Okay.
budgeted revenue comes from?
It's, if you don't mind, I can hand you a copy of what we've been given, going around town and asking different businesses inside of Alva and outside communities. If you want to participate as advertisers during our event. It doesn't quite total that 9,000 some odd dollars that we're lacking, but we left a little bit of space for us to make our profit off of gate and whatnot that we do during the event, and we use that money to pay for the show. This show's not built necessarily to make money. It's we're just bringing this show to town because I enjoy doing this. I rode bulls for 9 years, and I quit after going to school at Northwestern, and my passion is just right here, the bucking bulls and my friends going down the road. This is all I want to do, is just put it in front of other people to enjoy. So we left this event open to make its own money to pay for itself. I'm guessing that's the best way I can word it. Well, on the bull team side of things, they pay that $1,000 for the entry fee. The 80% is all that's going back into their pot. The other 20% of the stock contractor's entry fee is going towards the rider's purse. So I mean, we're not making any money off their entry fee, but on our bull riders, it'll be a 75% payback. I believe that $750, if we get all 30 bull riders, that'll be used to help pay for the show as well.
So how many, it's just one night?
Yes, sir.
We are promoting for the stock contractors to come the night before, which are going to stay in a motel, excuse me, which are going to buy meals, which are going to buy diesel, you know, maybe even hit the feed store, you know, buy hay, buy feed. And I think that we're not making any money on this, but I think a lot of people can make a lot of money on this because they're stopping in a motel, they're going to the gas station, they're going to eat at a restaurant, that kind of thing.
And with this being a competition for the bulls, stock contractors these days, that's what they raise the bulls for. It's not just they're not raising just rodeo bulls for the weekends. They're going to futurities where they compete with just 2-year-old bulls, or derbies or aged events where the bulls have to be a certain age. That's what these guys are raising the bulls for. And I think that with a good go this year on this type of show, that we could add a futurity or some type of aged event that could occur the Friday night before or the Sunday afternoon after, you know. Which,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, which we're only at 15 different contractors for this event, but if we were to bring in a futurity, me and Jed just went to one last weekend, and they had over 65 different contractors just for a futurity and a derby. They bucked like 150 head of bulls down there, and that's just more people that we could bring to this community, more hotel rooms that we could use.
We handed out flyers.
I think you answered my question I had is you're about 5 weeks out from the event, and you said, if I understood you correctly, you have 15, or how many people do you have registered then?
To this date, we have 9 out of 15.
Okay.
Books for entry don't exactly open until March 1st.
Okay.
But we've kind of treated this like an invitational this year and kind of put it in their year early so we can kind of ensure that they are going to come and to ensure that they come instead of dropping out last minute and not showing up. We're going to require them to pay a 50% deposit on their entry fee just so that they do come. I know I wouldn't want to pay somebody $500 and not show up. So that is one way that we're going to ensure that they are here.
So will any of the college riders be able to participate in this?
Oh yes,
Yes.
oh yes. The bull riding end of it is completely open. Anybody is allowed. It doesn't matter. They can be, we'll just start now, they can be high school kids that go into the high school rodeos, it can be the college kids here, other people from here in Alva or surrounding communities, out of state, virtually can come from anywhere.
What kind of attendance is the one you were at? You said last week or previously?
Yes, down in Enid, their stands were packed, and it's not in the expo center, so they didn't have the 500 or 7,500 people there. But
I would say probably around 500.
or more, I would say.
I would say, well, the between the futurity and the bull riding, which is, they held theirs, their futurity starts in the morning time, and their bull riding is in the evening. I would say there was probably 500 different people at the futurity and 500 at the bull riding. So, I mean, in a mixture, you could be 750 people, you know, if you mix them together.
Theirs is an ongoing, they have it every year?
Yes, oh yeah, they've been having it for,
This, I believe, was their 4th or 5th year.
Do they do just one night, or do they?
Yes, this was just one day. And I mean, they split theirs up where their futurity, like he said, is in the early afternoon, 1 to 2 o'clock, and then the other aged events, the Derby and futurity, the Derby and Classic event was later that night and presented as an actual bull riding, whereas futurity was more or less just open to anybody to come watch. I don't think they really charged anybody for the futurity, but like when you're bringing in that many different contractors, you know, they're all bringing their families, or you know, they have their followers too. So
When you talk about a multi-day event, this committee kind of gets excited.
oh yes,
and we're hoping that eventually that's what it's going to come to. You know, maybe next year, or if we put one on again this year, possibly. We're hoping for a 2-day event, and maybe even, you know, years to come, maybe even a 3-day event. You know, would be great. But right now, we're just wanting a 1-day event. Is what we're trying to make.
This is just our stepping stone, because we're getting into contractors and what they can bring to this town.
Justin, how many contractors are within, let's say, a 200-mile radius of here?
Oh shoot, I'd say there's at least 100 or more.
CBR, PBR.
Yeah, Frontier Rodeo Company would probably be the most recognizable, and they're out of Freedom. That's where they're headquartered now, and they are a nationwide, international rodeo company. They've hauled bulls and horses to Mexico and Canada for their top country events. They're all over the nation, and that's just one. There's Cooper Congeezer from Zenda, Kansas, which she's only, I'd say, about 45 minutes from here. But not only is Cooper a stock contractor and haul to different bull events, but he's a professional bull rider himself. Has made it to the Wrangler National Finals. I don't really know how many years, but he's been there quite a few. Sumner from Goldtree, Oklahoma. He raised the world famous bull Bodacious that later went on to Sammy Andrews. And he's got recognition all over Oklahoma, Texas, this nation. Everybody knows who Phil Sumner is. And like I said, the bull deal is becoming a bigger deal every year. Everybody owns them. It's kind of making it hard for myself to own them because everybody's got one. But they're becoming just as big as bull riders. People will root for the bulls just like they do for the riders.
Any other questions for Justin and Jed?
Yes. It's not just a bull riding event, it's also a concert.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you gonna charge for concert fees?
Yes, we will.
And you're gonna charge for attendance fees
Yes, we will.
to attend the bull riding event?
Yes, we will. We've got it set up for, you can get into bull riding, you can pay for a ticket there, or you can go to the concert only and pay for a ticket there, and we're also gonna sell a combo, which will cut back and save you a little money buying two together.
Any other questions for Justin and Jed? If not, I'd entertain a motion to either approve or disapprove the request.
Make a motion to approve the request for $3,700.
I have a motion to approve the request for $3,700. Have a second? It's been moved and seconded.
Henry?
Aye.
Janet?
I'm gonna put no at this time, and only because we didn't have a full revenue sheet on both events that we require of everyone else.
Norval?
Aye.
Charles?
Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the approval or disapproval of funds for the Northwestern Oklahoma Medieval and Renaissance Fair not to exceed $2,330.06. You're back.
I am. Amongst all the snow. So as you can see, I basically came back because you advised me to. And hey, I'm okay with that. So I've done a lot of phone calls, getting a lot of different prices for the different advertising between all the different newspapers, as well as the Rialto Theater. Before the movies, they show a PowerPoint. And I also added 2 more porta potties, just because I know that was a concern. And and I've already talked with the Little Sahara porta potties, and they said that they are wide open that week, so that if I need to add more, if I all of a sudden have a huge spurt of more vendors, then I can always add more. The porta potties are basically just for the vendors over that evening, because all of the buildings will still be open during the day. So. And then and I'm not that great with Excel, but I did my best with the expenses this time around. I did attain a professional harpist as well as a belly dancing troupe. And I have been talking with several vendors, one that's confirmed already sent in a check to reserve their space, and several others that have seen our ad in the Renaissance magazine, so that has paid off with that. A couple of them were concerned that it wasn't a 2-day event. They said that they will come when it's a 2-day event, and I said, let me get through this first year of trying to keep my sanity. So everybody is already wanting it to make it a 2-day event.
So where's the revenue side of your budget? Am I just not seeing it on here? Is that this revenue estimates down at the bottom?
Yeah, the revenue estimate's down at the bottom, yeah.
The actual expenses of $2,902,
Mhm.
that is excluding the in-kind expenses?
Correct.
I'm kind of concerned about your actual expenses because I don't think the numbers add up. Because you have actual expenses as $2,902.52, but your advertising totals $2,480.06, and you still haven't added in the program cost, decoration, porta potties, and all those other miscellaneous expenses.
Well, I also, it might not have added up. Well, I have the funding from December, and then I also have the funding from the pending, what we're discussing right here, as far as.
Right, and that total was $3,708.06.
Okay.
So your actual expenses are less than what you're asking for from us.
Okay, so I had not added in with the printing and things like that. I will need to add those in. As well as the postage, because I've started sending out invitations to all the local schools.
Now, is the printing an in-kind expense where you just had that listed, but you're not really going to have to pay out the cash?
Well, that printing, the $100, the in-kind is for a,
Well, I'm just saying, when I look at the budgeted expenses, I'm not really concerned about expenses that you're not actually writing a check for, whether in-kind, somebody's donating that or whatever.
Right.
That's nice that they donate that, but that's not really a cash expense.
okay,
And so when I'm looking at the expenses, I want to exclude those items.
okay.
And so that's what I'm trying to get down to that.
Actually, probably that whole one paragraph of the budget would be,
That's
that's
what
all
I-
in-kind expenses.
That's kind of what my question, that whole one section is in kind?
Right, yes, that
Okay.
whole section that would be, what the university will be paying for in kind. The different building rentals, the extra police officers that we're gonna have on campus, the cleaning up, that's gonna cost extra money to have extra people clean up.
So your actual expense is about $3,400 or something like that?
The in-kind expense, I think
No, your actual expenses. That
30.
first part, the advertising, and then the miscellaneous, because those are the expenses you're writing checks for, isn't it? And I was just
Right.
kind of doing that in my
Right, the
head.
advertising up at the top, and then the miscellaneous expenses
Yeah, and I was
below
just
that.
kind of trying to do that in my head real quick. I think I came
Okay.
up like 3,400. Janet, did you get an actual number on that? You know, I just kind of estimated it in my head.
4,075.06.
How much?
4,075.06.
$4,075? Okay.
I am also going to the local clubs, the Kiwanis Club, and the Moose Lodge has volunteered to host a Kaylee for afterwards at the Irish Party. I've also started going to the different sponsors, the different local businesses to see if they want to be sponsors to help pay for some of the expenses.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a little bit confused on this thing, because I'm getting revenue of $5,440, and expenses of $4,075. So I'm just a little bit confused as to how we can pay actual expenses when what you're asking for is
Well,
an
as far
extra-
as the,
Now, wait a minute, I have one more question. Do you have in this list, okay, last time we allocated $1,450, and
Right.
wasn't that for porta potties?
part of it, yes, and then I added, yes, and then I added 2 more. to their
Okay, because I only have $375 for 6 porta potties.
Correct,
Okay,
because they're 125 per 2.
okay. Because I'm just trying to, you know, when you ask for reimbursement, you have to ask for, and in your request, you're asking for specific line items in your budget. But it appears as if what you're asking for exceeds the amount of the line items in your budget. So I'm not sure, I'm just not sure the numbers add up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have our last request?
I apologize, the chamber building, they gutted today, and I was not able to get in, and Jody has the notebook, and she's not able to be here today. So if you guys have a notebook, you would have the last
Oh,
one
the
in
last one, that was
December.
in December?
That was in December.
I've got that here. Because the last request was for advertising for $100, for Renaissance Magazine, local advertising for $200, porta potties $250, decorations $400, harpist $200, belly dancing $200, and item or registration papers and ribbons and so forth, hire for $100. And so I guess what I guess we're trying to figure out is what additional items are you asking for
Well, I think
this
Well,
time?
the biggest thing is the advertising.
yeah,
And then-
the advertising she has additional listed would certainly cover her 2330, because she only asked
But didn't she ask for money for advertising before?
$100.
Yeah, I took $100, and I.
Well, $300. $100 for Renaissance and $200 for local advertising.
And I took that out from what was expected. And I took out
So
also.
that's not included, that what you'd asked for?
That's not, no, because since this got bumped back, and that's part of, that might be why some of the numbers might be a little off, is that I was working on this for the January meeting, and then there was some confusion about getting here and presenting this, and so I can't even do 2 months worth of advertising at the theater and all of the different weeks that I was gonna have advertising at all the different magazines. So I had to redo all of the numbers because I have less time now, a month less, and so that might be where some of the numbers might have gone a little awry.
I think what Henry's telling you is that what you've listed here as what you're wanting to spend this money on will be the only thing we'll be able to reimburse you for. So, I mean, that will be, you know, what you've come in and said, I want to spend on advertising.
Sure.
He will pay your advertising bills,
Sure.
but he won't pay a bill that's not advertising,
Sure,
because that won't be something we approve.
that's fine.
And, but I do know we did say, you need more advertising, and
Right.
you've come forth with more
Right.
advertising. And, you know, if we approve it and you don't spend the money on those things, you won't.
You don't get reimbursed.
You don't get reimbursed
You don't
for
get
it,
that
so-
money
Right.
to spend on something else.
I
Right.
mean, sometimes people get confused, they come to the committee, they get an amount of money and they think they can spend it on whatever they want on the
Right.
event, but that's not the way it works. You request what you're going to spend the money on. It doesn't, you could say advertising, it doesn't have to be broke out what that advertising is directly, but it has to be that item. So, with you knowing that, I'm going to make a motion that we approve it, the additional amount. You've specified in the first one what you were going to spend it on. You specified in this one what you're going to spend it on.
I have,
Strictly for advertising and everything.
That's what she's asked for, and the two additional porta potties.
I have a motion to approve the request for $2,330.06. Have a second? It's been moved and seconded to approve the request for the Northwestern Oklahoma Medieval and Renaissance Fair.
Charles?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Norval?
Aye.
Janet? Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is the approval or disapproval of funds for the Cats Pajamas, the Northwest Concert Series not to exceed $2,000.
Steve Knox here. I've got Pat Harkin with me. We're from the advisory committee of the Northwest Oklahoma Concert Series. Pat's a little under the weather tonight, so I'm going to do the speaking, and I guess Pat's here as eye candy, so.
You could have done better.
Hopefully that won't hurt us too bad.
Does he
all
belly?
got our
That's one. Does he belly dance? If he can't talk.
Possibly. If we get
I
more
don't want to
money.
know.
I think Pat will do
I mean, Amy
pretty
may
much
be
anything
interested.
for money. Pat can be bought. You've got our application in front of you. The last part of the application does a really good job of telling you what the Northwest Oklahoma Concert Series is about, what we've done in the past. We're not new to this game. We've been doing it for about 15 years. Hopefully everybody in here has attended at least one event that we've brought to Harrod Hall on the Northwest Oklahoma State University campus. Wide array of types of performances have come to Alva from all over the world. We've had numerous Irish groups here. We just recently had a acrobatic team from China. We've had acts from Canada, Mexico, you name it, we've had them here. So I'm going to keep this short. The event that we're promoting currently is an event called, the name of the group is Cats Pajamas. They are a male a cappella group from Branson, Missouri. They're going to give a 2-hour concert. They have some national recognition in that they have appeared in season 3 of the Sing Off on TV, NBC TV. They've toured abroad. We've had really good success with a cappella groups in the past. This particular performance is going to be Monday night, March 11th at 7:30 at Harrod Hall. Dr. Irene Missaloris is the director of the series. She couldn't be here tonight, so Pat and I are here in her place. But she has filled out this application. She has basically told you the expenses, the projected income. We do get grant income. Unfortunately, over the years, we've seen that income, especially from the Oklahoma Arts Council, decrease, as it seems like lots of things have in the last few years. We do have some local funding. We solicit advertising funds from area businesses and give them tickets to the performance for that advertising. We do get some of our income from ticket sales. However, we try to keep the cost of tickets as low as we possibly can, because part of our mission is to provide a cultural experience to people that are low income, like students, like people on fixed income. So we try to keep our ticket prices low intentionally. We're not here to make money, but of course we have to generate enough money to keep this thing going. We feel like we have a direct tie to tourism in this town. We always hand out a survey at every performance, have the audience fill those out, and we ask a number of questions like, have you eaten in a restaurant tonight, either before or after this performance? In the past, we've asked about staying in motels because we do have about 30% of our audience comes from outside of Alva. Of course, in the last couple of years, there hasn't been availability of motels, so we haven't seen much of that, but I can tell you in the past we have had numerous people stay in motels, and various acts have stayed in motels that have come here. Some of the Irish groups have. Jimmy Webb was here a couple years ago, singer, composer, songwriter. He stayed in a local motel. Others have indicated they would have liked to have stayed here but have been unable to find housing. But hopefully that's going to change. We have found the more money we have, the more we can pay for a performance, the better the performance is typically, the more appeal it has, and people come from longer distances to see that act. An example would be Michael Martin Murphy. We had him here 4 or 5 years ago. We packed the house. We had people from Amarillo, from eastern Colorado, all over Kansas, all over Oklahoma, coming to Alva to see Michael Martin Murphy because, you know, a limited number of appearances, but he was a big draw. We had people staying here overnight at that time. So, to cut to the chase, we do have costs associated with this particular performance. We are about $2,000 short, $1,000 on the artist fee, and $1,000 for the technical engineering cost. And that's what we're asking for tonight, is $2,000 to help us meet the cost of this performance. Any questions?
How is this different from the rest of Northwest Oklahoma concert series?
It's not really. It's just part of, it's one of the performances.
Okay. I guess my question is, why then do you need money for this event where you haven't need money for the rest of them?
Yeah.
And that's one question. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and answer that question first?
Well, like I said, in the past, we've always gotten 50% of our fee from, 50% of the fees for the performers has been reimbursed by the Oklahoma Arts Council. They've been cutting that back every year, and now we're lucky to get 20 to 25% of the fee reimbursed. So we've really seen our funding go down drastically. Because of that, we're looking for other funding sources. We've solicited funds from Share Trust. They've been kind enough to help us. But we're just reaching out to other organizations in Alva to help us with this. Like I said, you know, the tendency is, well, let's charge more for tickets to make up the difference. But we really don't want to do that because we don't want to exclude people from our audience. We want to be able to offer some type of cultural experience for people at a very low cost.
How much of the funding comes from the university itself, and then from this year compared to previous years?
The university provides no funds. They do provide the facility, and they do provide labor in that people that are, say, enrolled in performing arts in the Fine Arts College at the university, they collect tickets, they act as ushers, they help with the sound technicians, with the lighting technicians, they move sets on and off the stage if that's required, that sort of thing. In return, they get some training as part of their educational experience while going to school at Northwestern. But Northwestern itself does not give us any funds. Our funds are strictly from ticket sales, from advertising sales, and from grants from various institutions like yourself.
Do you anticipate this as an ongoing thing? I mean, each one of your
Yeah, we
things
have,
are gonna need this kind of support?
yeah, I'm sure you're gonna see us in the future, and I hope, we can come back with, even bigger acts with the thought that we will be able to put people in motels here in town and, you know, add to tourism in Alva, but we're gonna be asking for more money right along with it. But yeah, this is gonna be an ongoing thing. This won't be the last time you see us. Whether you give us money tonight or not, you're gonna see us again. We don't
Keep
give
beating
up
on the
easily.
door.
And, you know, we have a proven product, but it's just our funding is somewhat drying up, so we're looking to new sources, and we feel like we have a real tie with this committee because of the tourism part, and that's something we haven't.
How do you correlate the size of the act to the number of seats that you have available?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, we have, Harrod
You
Hall.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, Harrod Hall.
I mean, there's no need to get a huge name because you only
Yeah.
can sell X number of seats.
Yeah.
And so like
What
Michael
we
Martin
did-
Murphy deal
yeah.
sold it,
Perfect example,
but
Henry.
if you had somebody bigger,
It's not like we put it in our pockets or we go have a party or anything. It's just carried over to the next event. At the end of the year, if we have extra money, it's carried over to the next year. So we just keep circulating that money until it's used up, and we always look ahead to where hopefully we never come up short at any time.
so if you, in the future, I'm just thinking in the future, if you come back for additional funds so that you can have bigger named events, and like you did with Michael Martin Murphy, you doubled the ticket price, isn't that somewhat going against what your mission statement is of making available at low cost to students and those on fixed income?
Yeah, if we had say a 5,000 seat facility, then we could keep ticket prices at $10, there wouldn't be any problem. But like you said, there's a tipping point there where because of limited number of seats, the additional cost for the performance, we're gonna have to charge a little more for seats. But here again, $20 is fairly cheap. You can't go hardly anywhere.
Well, that was
and
from
see a
Michael Martin
live
Murphy, and how many
performance.
years ago was that?
Several.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, I'm pretty sure that there were other places he performed that were charging considerably more than that. Of course, they might have been a little nicer facility than Harrod Hall at the time. Harrod Hall is a really nice acoustic facility, but unfortunately it needs some help. And somewhere down the line, we're gonna try to get that improved too, with new seating and that sort of thing. But that's not a concern of this committee. But yeah, there's a trade-off there, Henry, the battle between keeping prices low, but at the same time, we want to bring quality acts to Alva that people will come out and see with the thought of filling the place up, which we do from time to time.
Stephen, you and I were younger, you remember Northwestern used to have concerts in the gymnasium, in the field house. I mean, is that still a possibility that could happen?
It probably is, but there you got a real problem with acoustics. Acoustics are terrible in there. You know, the sound just rattles around. And
I wouldn't
back
go to
when-
something like that, but one of the seats aren't very comfortable.
Yeah, and the seating's not very good. Back when you and I were young, you know, our hearing was great, but, you know, Norval, as we get older, man, I could sit in a place like that, even with like a basketball game, and my ears are just tweaking all the time. And you put some type of act in there with amplified sound, and it'll probably drive some people right out of it. Where Harrod Hall does have pretty good acoustics. You can turn up the volume pretty good in there and still be able to sit and enjoy the sound without wanting to go screaming out the back door, for the most part. But a bigger venue would be nice, but it needs to be a venue that meets the acoustic needs and all that, and we're able to give lighting A lot of the acts want a particular type of lighting or colored lighting or lighting that will follow the act or highlight a particular part of the act. Like the Chinese acrobats, the lights kind of focus on a certain part of the performance or follow them as they bicycle around the stage.
Yeah, that was a great performance.
Yeah, I'm always amazed that we're able to get the kind of performance we do in a little venue like that and pull it off. I mean, it's a real credit not to Pat or I or anybody on the advisory board, but, you know, the people at Northwestern and the performers themselves that they're able to pull that off is pretty, always amazes me.
Any other questions for Steve? If not, I entertain a motion to approve or disapproval of the fund request not to exceed $2,000.
I move we approve the request for $2,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request for $2,000.
Charles?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Norma?
Motion passed. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you all, and you'll see us again.
Okay, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Been moved, I have a second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Aye.
Aye.